Vice President and Chief Sales Officer here at Senior Advisory Group. Want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us today to learn about the triple threat from Fidelity and Guarantee Life. And with me this morning, a special guest and a personal friend of mine, Mr. Ron Barrett. Ron, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, fantastic, Bill. Thank you very much for inviting me over to spend some time with your advisors.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. So what I'm going to do, Ron, is I'm just going to let you take it away and share your story, from the F&G perspective of why our advisors need to be looking at F&G with the 3 different products, kind of where they fit, what you're seeing in the marketplace, and your ultimate wisdom, as always, no pressure. And I'm just going to get out of your way and jump back on at the end. So I appreciate you coming in. Ron's actually in-house today doing the presentation live, which is always a pleasure. And with that, Ron, I'm going to get out of your way. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, fantastic, and good morning to everybody who's on the call with us this morning. Thanks for spending the next 20 to 30 minutes with us. Guys, there's a lot of exciting things obviously going on in the marketplace as a whole, but if we look specifically at Fidelity and Guarantee Life, I've got to say, Fidelity and Guarantee Life is kind of like the stock market. Past performance does not necessarily indicate the future results for us because we are a completely new and different company than what most agents have experienced in the last 3 to 5 years. And that's where some of this excitement has come from. So my goal today is kind of threefold. I guess there's 3 things I'd like to see you walk away with from our call this morning. First of all, a quick overview and review of the company itself, some of these changes that I've been referring to and the difference that it's going to make for you and your practice and obviously the clients that you work with. The second thing I want you to walk away with is we've got a phenomenal top producer program in place that gives the advisor to have some really key differences as we continue to build long-term loyal relationships with our partners, obviously Senior Advisory Group, but more importantly, the agents who are on this call today. And then the third thing I'm going to touch on is what Bill has referred to as the triple threat. And that's really where our product portfolio is currently positioned. What we typically find is that clients have a primary need and then a couple of secondary needs. And we've got products that are perfectly priced to dominate in those primary need areas. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So let's first of all talk a little bit about the company. What is so different? I made some pretty bold statements that as an organization we're moving in a new direction. Well, first off, we went public earlier this year. And with going public, as you know, we raised about $165 million in capital. The great thing is that capital is being reinvested aggressively into the business to make sure that we become one of the top carriers in the market. Now, our goal is not to be the best. We just want to be a top profitable carrier that's very agent and consumer friendly. In fact, our current price of our stock has continued to reflect the strong performance that we have from a growth perspective, which, by the way, we're up about 115% year-to-date in direct sales. But to go with that, we have very strong operating revenue and earnings. And what we did, basically, is we invested some of those dollars that we raised in the IPO in building out our service platform. If you've been writing business with Fidelity and Guarantee for a while, I've got to say it's kind of like dating a schizophrenic. The very first day we put our best foot forward, and everything seems to be great and hot product, and then all of a sudden the service starts to slip a little bit, and you're like, what happened? Everything was so good before. Well, we recognize that about us, and we're completely changing the way we approach the field. We've actually hired 20 brand new case managers based out of Des Moines, Iowa. Here's the best part. These aren't new people in the business. We went and actually took some of the top service people from American Equity, from Midland, from North American, people who understand your business. They understand the importance of getting it in, getting it issued as quickly as possible, so obviously you're getting paid quicker. Along with that, we're investing in our technology platform. We just ran a fantastic online electronic application submitted process, worked brilliantly. We were able to get in. Now, this is interesting. 2.5 weeks, we took in $280 million. Within that 2.5 weeks, we issued $157 million of it. Think about that. Getting in, getting it issued, and getting you paid as quickly as possible. And we're going to continue to invest, obviously, from a service perspective so that you're dealing with some of the top people in the industry. Now, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about our financial position, because now more than ever, the clients you're working with are better educated. They want to know the company you're working with is stable, secure, and that they're going to be there when you need them the most. Well, guys, if you look at our stability, our financial portfolio, especially our investment portfolio, 96% of our assets are rated NAIC 2 and above. Now, what does that ultimately mean to you? Compare our investment performance and our investment portfolio, we match up with most of the A and A- rated companies currently in the marketplace today. But where we have a difference is we're at 450% RBC. And all that ultimately means to you is this. We've got the money to invest in the business, to take the premium coming in the door. Industry average is typically about 375. So I think we've got that covered. In fact, Moody's recently, recognizing the success that we're having as a company, upgraded us, upgraded our portfolio, and basically what they said was this. They saw the fact that we are expanding, we have good asset quality, we're getting good returns on our investments, and more importantly, because we're now a publicly traded company, we are a completely capital self-sufficient organization, transparency across the board, which means we don't have to worry about whether somebody's going to come in and try to take advantage of our capital position. We're completely standalone. And the best part is every quarter you get the opportunity to go in and look at our financial performance to make sure we're staying safe and consistent in the way we approach the marketplace. So that's a little bit about the company. We're different. We've got a different approach. We've got the people in place to make sure your business is going to get issued quickly. So since we're talking about you, the advisors on this call, let me lay out for you what we call our Power Producer Program. And there's really three things that I want you to remember about the Power Producer Program. First is we have a deferred compensation program funded by us as a company that is a benefit for you at some point when you ultimately decide to transition out of the business, retire out of the business, or maybe even sell your practice. And really what it means is this. It's kind of your personal pension program funded by us. And the way it works is for every $1.5 million in premium that you get paid with us on the annuity side, we're going to put a credit away at the end of the year for you. And let's just say, for example, in 2008 it was $4,500. Now here's the best part, and this is where the longevity and the loyalty comes into play. Every year that you qualify for the program, at that exact same $1.5 million, we're not asking you to or forcing you to increase your production, just keep doing the same business with us. We apply a multiplier to that credit. So every year, as you can see the multipliers being applied, that you've continued to write that business with Fidelity and Guarantee. Just a quick example, if you wrote just that 1.5 with us over 6 years, above and beyond your commissions, above and beyond your trips, above and beyond the programs that you have with Senior Advisory Group, we would have actually set aside $80,000 in an account for you for your retirement. Maybe you're a little larger producer on the call with us. Let's imagine you're doing $4 million a year with us. That $4 million with us, along with the commissions you would have been paid, would be almost $600,000 set aside by us for you for your retirement. You spend a lot of time helping your clients get ready for retirement. Fidelity and Guarantee is now investing in you for your retirement. Along with that, the deferred comp program, we've got a phenomenal trip available that you can qualify for, obviously. But I think one of the best parts about the Power Producer Program, and this is the third leg of the stool, is once you receive Power Producer status with us, you receive a dedicated new business home office person at Fidelity and Guarantee that is 100% responsible for your business. So what that means is when the business comes in the door, that person is getting their hands on it. They're going through to make sure that everything is in good order. They're sending out the transfers, for example, and they're pushing the business through as quickly as possible. You will have, and your staff will have, one point of contact at F&G to make sure that the questions and concerns about the case are being handled quickly, efficiently, to ultimately get you paid quicker. So we've touched on the company, moving in an amazing direction. We've got the programs in place to provide incentive and rewards for our top producing advisors. Now let's talk a little bit about your client. And I know Bill was so kind enough to invite me in here to share a little bit about what we call the three powerful combinations, where we fit in the marketplace of the triple threat. First off, let's talk a little bit about wealth transfer and comprehensive. That's the Prosperity Elite. Performance Pro. If you're an advisor on this call who's been working with clients who want performance, they want control, they want to be able to have better than typical returns in what we see in a low cap environment, the Performance Pro will be the perfect product or contract for that particular situation. But what I'm going to start with, which is currently the strongest guaranteed income story in the marketplace today. And I know that's a pretty bold statement to say it's one of the strongest, if not the strongest, guaranteed income story in the marketplace today. We've run the competitive analysis. We've looked at all the major income riders available currently in the marketplace today. 95% of the time we will match or beat any of the guaranteed income products in the marketplace today. And you're going to find out the opportunity by just reaching out to the marketing consultants here at Senior Advisory Group. Obviously, they can run the illustrations, but let me just give you a quick example, because guaranteed income is a pretty simple, easy story. And that's what it really should be, a simple, easy story. I have this much in assets. How much guaranteed income will it create based on when I need it? We've got a phenomenal income calculator that gives you the ability. It's a 3-page document, consumer approved, that tells the story for you, basically. And here's an example of what that calculator would look like. You can see it breaks down your income base, your withdrawal percentage, but really at the end of the day, it's about the number. It's about the guaranteed income amount. You can see the withdrawal amount that's being generated based on when the client would trigger the income account value. Oh, by the way, for those of you in California, we do have an income doubler built into this rider. 2 of 6 ADLs doubles the income for as long as there's account value. That is a clear competitive advantage that we have in the marketplace today. Speaking of simple and easy at point of sale, I'm giving you an example here of a consumer-approved piece. Guys, this is your call to action. Do me a favor, make sure you write this down. I call it the income matrix, but it's basically our 1-page consumer-approved guaranteed income piece. And really what it does for you is this. When you're sitting with the client, you would now have the ability, based upon the client's age and how long they want to wait till they trigger their income, tell them exactly how much guaranteed income they're going to receive at that point. So typically, obviously, you've got to capture the information, go back to your office, run your illustrations, do your comparisons, and then have to come back to the client to tell them what that guaranteed income amount might be. This 1-page piece was specifically put together so you can maybe close that sale in one call, not have to go back to the office. And the way it works is this. Again, left-hand side, 60-year-old client. Top, you're looking at the amount of years in deferral, $12,000 based on a $100,000 initial deposit into the contract. We took it one step further because the client's not always giving you exactly $100,000. The second page of the piece is the factor that you can use to determine the guaranteed income no matter what the dollar amount is. Same concept, 60-year-old client, let's assume they have $250,000 and they're going to wait 10 years. You can take that 12.32 and multiply it times your 250. Again, you've got a simple, easy, guaranteed income story. Because at the end of the day, it's about simple, easy, where does it fit with the client, and how are you going to use it? Now, how do we do all this and make a claim like the strongest guaranteed income product in the marketplace today? We do it with an 8% bonus applied to income and account value. We've got a 7% compounded roll-up rate guaranteed for 10 with the ability to restart for another 10. We've got some of the strongest escalating payout factors in the marketplace today that increase annually. And oh, by the way, remember I mentioned earlier, the income doubler or the impairment doubler is all part of this nice, neat, simple package. And it only costs your client 95 basis points on an annualized basis. Here's a quick example of the payout factors. Again, not going to spend a lot of time on the details because it's really about the big number, and you can get the details from your marketing consultant over here at Senior Advisory Group. But I do get a lot of questions about the confinement benefit. Ron, how are you so different than the rest of the competition? Here's where we're different. 1, we're available in California. 2, we're 2 of 6 ADLs, not confined to a facility. You can receive home health care. That's a big deal. Home health care, everybody wants to stay home. Just have to have doctor certified 2 of 6 ADLs. You've got to be getting care from a licensed professional. And again, as I mentioned earlier, account value runs to 0. We're not going to cap or limit your client their ability to have income double. And we all know how this works. It's really simple. If I'm receiving $13,000 in guaranteed income and my 2 of 6 triggers kick in, F&G will double that amount of income, pay you $26,000 until you run out of account value, and then at that point we go back to the original $13,000 guaranteed for the rest of their life. We do have some partial free withdrawals available, obviously, if you're doing some short-term funding strategies. By the way, we're vested account value, not initial premium. That's important because that means you can take bigger partial free withdrawals initially without impacting the roll-up rate. We've got complete liquidity options in here, nursing home, home health care, terminal illness, simple and easy. We give them all their money back. And oh, by the way, death benefit, 100% vested, receive the bonus, and they get partial credits to date of death. That's, again, another unique competitive advantage that we have in the market. And, oh, by the way, we're not going to charge you back for something out of your control, even if death occurs in the first year. Now, we do have some crediting options in here, but, guys, I'm going to be totally honest with you. This product was not designed for growth. It was designed specifically for guaranteed income. So you do have the ability to have some growth, but it's not extremely competitive in the marketplace today. Here's some of the states that are currently available. We basically have the Safe Income Plus currently available in the majority of the key states. Here's where we have a distinct competitive advantage. If you're selling maybe a higher guaranteed income product in the market, in the light states, that 8% bonus is available for your client on the income account. So it's going to generate more substantial income for the client than the competition. And I dare you to compare. If you're writing anything else, take your illustration, send it to your marketing consultant over here at Senior Advisory Group, and let them compare with what we currently have available to you. You can get access to all the illustration system online. That's available through SAG. We've got marketing material. Again, I just want to remind you, call in when we finish up here, ask for the one-page consumer-approved marketing piece. So that's a Safe Income Plus. That's our guaranteed income story. Performance is huge today. We see a lot of product being sold based on the potential for the client to make money based on what the market's doing. Just a couple of quick points about why the Performance Pro is quickly becoming the #1 seller at Fidelity and Guarantee Life. Strong commission to the client, to the agent, 10% bonus to the client on a 10-year product. We talk a lot about uncapped crediting strategy. At the end of the day, it's really about the ability for the client to make good money based upon what the market's doing, coupled with that 10% bonus. We take that growth potential, and if income is a secondary need for the client, we've got performance-based income built right into this contract. And yes, by the way, we do have the income doubler as part of this package. Guys, we have the income doubler on all of our product offerings and in California. So since we're talking about performance, let's look at how our uncapped crediting strategy works. And by the way, the strategy itself is the Dow Jones U.S. real estate. And we'll talk about that in a second. But when you start comparing performance-based options in the market, it's really about the range of reality. So if you look at our most recent, and this is an illustration that you can get access to, most recently, our uncapped strategy, net of spread, is around 6, a little more than 6%. But what the client looks at, if things go the way they hope it will, what's my max potentially? Well, you can see most recent is around 6, lowest case scenario is about 6.5, high case scenario, 12% annualized returns. These are annualized returns based on the uncapped crediting strategy. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the uncapped crediting strategy, but I think what's important when we're looking at performance, we're looking at it as a whole. The opportunity, no matter what the market's going to do, can my client make money? Because when we look at a lot of the uncapped crediting strategies or performance strategies in the marketplace today, one of the downsides, a lot of these contracts, as you know, is that the only option the client has is the uncapped crediting strategy. What if I don't want to be in the uncapped? What if I want a more traditional S&P monthly point-to-point? What if I want a more traditional annual point-to-point? What if I want to hedge it a little bit, maybe with gold, for example? What you're going to find with our contract, along with the powerful uncapped crediting strategy that has phenomenal brand recognition, obviously Dow Jones, real estate. Where's the market going? Real estate sounds pretty good today. When you look at some of the economic indicators around that, unemployment's way down, consumer confidence is up, which typically drives the real estate market. We've got transparency across the board. In fact, when you call into Senior Advisory Group, they'll give you access to a website. It is available. It's not proprietary. This is a public website that you can actually go in and track the values on a daily basis. But the rest of the story is that along with having the uncapped crediting strategy, you can look at the rest of our options or strategies, and we've got some of the strongest caps in the marketplace today. Monthly point-to-point at 225, annual point-to-point 475, and just in case we're concerned about inflation or market correction, we've got a nice gold option built in there. But I will tell you, here's what we typically see with the money that's coming in the door. We're being sold as a safe money alternative that provides diversification no matter what the market does next. In fact, we see money going into the real estate option. If you want broader exposure with a monthly point-to-point, which run the numbers, the monthly point-to-point will do well in an increasing interest or increasing market, obviously. And then we've got the gold. So when I look at the funds and how they're being allocated inside the product, clients and agents alike want diversification in a principal protected product. We take that growth potential, we turn it into some of the strongest income performance in the market, but here's the important thing, and we all know this. If income is important to the client, we've got to start with worst case scenario, and if things go well, look at the potential for growth on those income accounts. Guys, I dare you to compare even on this income account value that we use a stacking provision basically where it's a guarantee plus growth combined together. And by the way, if you're somewhat new to the stacking of performance-based income riders, another great reason to contact Senior Advisory Group. These guys are experts in helping you understand how to explain it to your client. But imagine walking in the door and being able to go into the client and saying, look, worst case scenario, we meet your minimum funding needs, $8,500 in guaranteed income, but if we do have performance based on the strategy that we put the dollars into, we could increase that by double and potentially quadruple if things work well. This is why performance and performance-based account values and income account values are so popular today, is do your basic minimum income planning with the opportunity for more in the future. So a quick summary on the Performance Pro. 10-year product, 10% vesting bonus for the client, uncapped crediting strategy along with strong caps in performance. In case you want to allocate it into one of the other options, we don't force you into the uncapped crediting strategy because who knows what the market's going to do next. We've got partial credits for income, performance-based income, and more importantly, if you're in California, we've got the income doubler. So quick recap. We've talked a little bit about our guaranteed income, which is the Safe Income Plus. We've got one of the strongest performance-based indexed annuities in the marketplace today. But there's a situation where some of the clients maybe don't know exactly what they're going to do with the money. They want some growth. They might use it for income. But maybe even more importantly, if they're not sure how they're going to use it, what they're probably thinking about is what happens when I die? Where does it go? How much money can I leave for my kids, my spouse, whatever it may be? That's the Prosperity Elite. We'll talk a little bit about the growth potential. We've got income. We've got doubler for impairment. I'm going to talk more specifically, though, about the wealth transfer opportunity with the Prosperity Elite. We can illustrate all this, and at the end of the day, really what it comes down to, simple, easy way to talk about some of the strong income options available. But where I find a lot of the advisors who write Prosperity, the thing they like about it is that we've got a guaranteed death benefit built into this as part of the package. It's a 5% simple interest death benefit. But with this particular product, the income account value is also available as a death benefit. So based on the client and the beneficiaries and their needs, you're going to have kind of the best of both worlds upon death. You'll have a guaranteed lump sum available in case they want to cash out early, or if they're willing to wait a little longer, they'll have the income account value that can actually be passed along to the beneficiary over a period of time. You can see the numbers are highlighted there on the right-hand side in that little box. Getting guarantees across the board, income, wealth transfer, kind of the comprehensive. And oh, by the way, this has some of the strongest caps in the marketplace today. So I call it kind of the the product for the client who isn't quite sure, but they know they want a little bit of everything. So again, not going to spend a lot of time on the detail, guys. That's what Senior Advisory Group is for and the marketers here. I'm going to assume you've got a client in the case that are sitting in front of you. All I ask is you do this. Pick up the phone, call the marketer over here at SAG. They can take you through. They can help you identify which product fits for which client. And I know I'm clicking through the slides and you're probably looking at the details, but a lot of it I've covered already. I've talked about the fact that we've got the income doubler here. Works exactly the way you think it's supposed to. By the way, on wealth transfer, remember I talked about this? The bonus is included in the guaranteed death benefit amount. That's unique in the market because many of the other death benefit options will not include the bonus initially in that account value, in that death benefit account value. And as I mentioned earlier, at time of death, we've got the lump sum option based on 5%. We've got the income base, which, by the way, is a 7% roll-up rate. That could also be taken out and paid out as a death benefit at some point in the future. So I think with the Prosperity, it's kind of the touch them all. You have a home run. You've got your accumulation covered. We've got income. We've got impairment. And, of course, one of the strongest guaranteed wealth transfer stories in the marketplace today. So, guys, just a quick recap. We spent a little bit of time talking about the new and improved Fidelity and Guarantee, the direction we're moving. More importantly, we introduced you to one of the strongest top producer programs in the marketplace today. We're going to fund your retirement. We're going to give you a dedicated new business person, take you on a nice trip, obviously. And then from a product perspective and the needs of your client, I think we've got them all covered. We've got the strongest guaranteed income story in the marketplace today that will match or beat anybody out there. We've got one of the best performance-based products at the Performance Pro. And then just in case, we've got the Prosperity with an extremely strong wealth transfer guaranteed story that can meet a lot of your clients' needs. So with that being said, I just want to say again, thank you so much for your time this morning. I really appreciate the partnership that we have with Senior Advisory Group. Thank you, Bill, for allowing me the opportunity to come on and talk to your advisors. And with that, I'll kick it back over to you.
Sounds good. Well, Ron, thank you. That's a lot of good information. And, you know, for those of you that may have done business with F&G in the past or are looking to, you know, to expand your practice and your product offering, you know, definitely give them another look. We're really excited to have the partnership. You know, there's a lot of fits for these 3 different products. And as Ron said, that's what we do. You call in. We're going to talk to you very specifically about what you're trying to accomplish for your client, and we're going to help you position the right product or products accordingly. And we're really excited, and I don't know if you caught the underlying tone, especially for our California advisors. This product suite in California offers benefits that are not available with other products, quite frankly. The 2-6 ADLs in California is huge, especially with the Safe Income Plus that we're seeing a lot of illustration traffic and a lot more, I guess, hype around that particular product right now, because with the call to action for guaranteed income, Ron hit it on the head. I mean, this product is one of the best products, if not the best product, at a lot of different age groups in the marketplace right now. And for those of you that are doing guaranteed income and trying to keep it really simple, that product is absolutely dynamite. And when you're looking at California having a 2-6 ADL position, you may be using another product right now for income, but it does not have that provision. Definitely take a look at F&G. So what I'm expecting, as always, if we call you, which you know we're going to call you, please either answer the phone or return the phone call. Tell us to jump in a lake or tell us we want contracting, okay? Because we're going to call you. And, of course, if you have questions, now's the time to call in. Talk to your sales and marketing consultant. And with that, I'm going to give you back your day. Ron, thank you very much for making an appearance and doing this webinar for us. I sincerely appreciate that. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move on with our day. So thank you, everyone. We're here to answer your questions. Give us a call. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.